Hello, Aries. I am so excited to be sitting down with you for your July 2019 reading for this month, y'all. This month. This is going to be a really powerful ride, so just keep that in mind before we even begin today, that this is eclipse season. We have a Mercury retrograde and we have a lot of oppositions happening in Cancer and Capricorn with big power players. So we are confronting anything that needs to be healed, transmuted, shifted, changed. And Aries, you guys are no exception, because the first two words that came to mind when I started to think about you and feel through your energy were emergence and resurrection. So you know that we're going to be dealing with some very real and raw emotions in the Aries family. Now, I think this is exactly what you guys need. I think this month is the way that the healing and the energy is coming in, the intensity with which it is coming in, is something that works for the Aries clan, actually. Not every sign likes to roll with this kind of lightning strike intensity the way that you guys do, but I do think that you will enjoy. You're kind of just ready. Like, I would rather just have the crazy lightning strike intensity hit me and light me up so that I know, so that I can move on it, than sit around and like wait and slowly heal, right? Like, you guys have been doing a lot of slow healing in the background for a long time now. This first half of the year, there's been a lot of deep behind the scenes healing. And this month is kind of a culmination of that. It's the culmination from what you started learning about in January and where you are now. There's a lot going on. So July 1st, we have Mars moving into fellow fire sign Leo. Oh yeah, so like the sun is in Cancer, right? In a fellow cardinal sign, challenging you, asking you to heal and be in your mother nurturing energy, which right now for you guys is a really powerful thing. You have Chiron in your sign. You have this chance to kind of work with the energy in new ways. But then the big ticket item starting July off is really this new moon in Cancer. This is a total solar eclipse. It's only going to be visible in parts of South America and in the ocean just to the west of South America. So most of us will not get a chance to see this solar eclipse. However, total solar eclipse in Cancer. That's going to be an energy of restart, of understanding how we self-mother, how we self-nurture, especially for Aries. It's going to be hitting that part of your chart. We also have a full moon in Capricorn starting on July 16th. Well, not starting, happening on July 16th. That's another eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse happening in Capricorn. Mercury is going retrograde on July 9th. Starts in Leo. It spends half of its retrograde in Leo. The second half, it moves into Cancer on July 19th and then retrogrades back until July 30th. Oop, Hermit wanted to come out. All right, I like it. I like it a lot. So we have a lot of powerful energy. Page of Cups. All right. I'm liking this, guys. I'm liking the vibe with Cancer. So let's go over the note that I was saying for you guys in July, which is that there's a big adjustment going on here with the balance between home and career, because this month is about healing our relationship with our external presenter and our internal nurturing, and where we ask for help and how we ask for help, and realizing that these aren't mutually exclusive states. To ask for help, to be vulnerable, to be open, to be soft and gentle in our relationships, and also to be a total giant in the world and move through the world with independence and ferocity. Four of Swords. We're having some introspective, introverted energies coming out for you guys, but I'm not surprised by that, because here's what I'm going to say. Okay, we have these powerful eclipses. Yes, they are crisp, they are clear. There's going to be a lot of just like, whoa. We also have Mercury retrograde slowing us down, having us go over things, revise things, take things in. And it's kind of, the poetry is kind of amazing, because Mercury starts the retrograde on the 9th, smack dab in the middle of these two eclipses, and then takes us through a retrograde journey until the 30th. And then we have the post shadow phase for a few weeks after that. And that is telling me something very specific, which is, okay, these eclipses are going to bring us a lot of information. They're going to help us revolutionize, for you guys, emerge and resurrect, and come fully into fruition of who you are going to be, almost to resurrect a part of yourself that maybe you put to sleep when you were 10 years old, and have that be a part of the moving, living, breathing world again. It's very volcanic for you guys. However, don't be expecting to institute all these changes in July. You are going to get all those hits for the resurrection and for the transformation. However, use the Mercury retrograde that starts in the middle of these two eclipses and then goes to the end of the month to integrate what you're learning. Don't try and wield these swords around. 8 of Wands. Okay, as I'm saying that, we have like this major power player of movement there with the 8 of Wands, but don't try and get totally back into Aries mode is what I'm saying in the midst of all these eclipses. Listen, integrate, rest. You will feel fired up. You will feel excited. You will feel ready. You will feel hungry for the next thing. Knight of Swords. You will feel ready to move. I'm looking at that 8 of Wands and Knight of Swords. It's cracking me up. 10 of Swords, there's that resurrection energy. There's that death and resurrection energy that is so strong for you guys. You always have that kind of in your DNA because your place in the year and your place in the way things initiate is that you are the result of a death and transmutation, right? Like you are the next sign that comes after Pisces. Once we've dissolved into the ether, you are the rebirth, right? So High Priestess, yep, we're going deep, you guys. But what I like about your reading and what I like about what I was picking up for you guys when it comes to July, when it comes to how these eclipses are hitting you, it does take you deep. It does take you deep into the labyrinth of your heart and your soul and your mind. It does take you to Emperor. Hey, look at that. What was I just saying about Pisces leading into Aries? The fog leading into the clarity. The mysterious, mystical leading into the physical action. There it is. And the feminine, the masculine. What's really interesting right now is we have the moon and the nodes of the moon and the eclipses happening in the mothering sign of Cancer and the moon and all that beautiful energy, and the father side of Capricorn with Saturn at home there. The Sun and Saturn are doing this big opposition on July 9th. And there's this conversation going on between masculine and feminine, but between self-mothering and self-fathering, between the spiritual, unseen, hidden, creative, nurturing force and the very physical, real-world, disciplinary force. And there's a conversation going on there that wants to mend and build a bridge between these two so they don't feel so far away. They are not meant to be far away. They're meant to be in conversation. And you guys are hitting right into the core of what that means for you. Once again, we're working with fellow cardinal signs here when we talk about Cancer and Capricorn. These are fellow cardinal signs that are squaring you. They surround you on each side and they're challenging you to do things a little differently. They are challenging you to show up to the table in life with a different sense of who you are. And you are having a small death of self during this month. So keep that in mind. Now, most of your energy is not about death. Most of your energy is not about loss. It's about gain. It's about opening new doors. It's about new opportunities. It's about potential. It's about happiness and abundance and communication and playfulness. But we are also being pulled deep for you guys. Very, very deep. So let's start talking about it, because when you look at these first 3 cards, we're taking a moment to understand something here. So the first couple weeks of this month, between those 2 eclipses and Mercury stationing retrograde, there is a lot going on. It's going to pull you back. It's going to pull you back from taking a whole bunch of external actions. It's going to pull you back from running around and getting results externally in the physical world, because you're getting pulled back into something very deep here. You know, the Hermit card is one of my favorite energies. You know, people always talk about the Hermit. Oh, it's you just sit at home and you don't do anything and you're not social. The Hermit is so much more than that. That's actually a really basic rendering of that understanding of that word, and definitely of this card. The Hermit is on a spiritual quest. This guy is out in a landscape, in a rough, wild landscape with a lantern, seeking truth. This guy is not sitting at home, right? But the thing with this landscape is that he is seeking truth within himself. He's seeking truth within the spikes and the peaks and the valleys of who he is. And you're being asked to do that. You're being asked to deconstruct any old patterning with who your identity is. And you are being asked to reinvent that. You know, we all have concepts of who we are. Well, I'm just this really extroverted, caring person. And, you know, I don't let things bother me. It's just water off a duck's back. And I just go for things and it doesn't matter, right? That's who I am. That might have served you for a while. But you're more than just those descriptors, right? You're also somebody who does care, who does feel it when somebody says something unfeeling to you. You're also somebody who needs time to recharge, right? So this is asking you to go deep into that conversation because you're getting an emotional hit. You're getting some kind of information coming in. Maybe this is your partner coming to you and saying, hey, I need something different. Let's talk about this. Maybe that doesn't have to be it. Maybe this is you having a big download because once again, the Cancer energy is so strong this month. There's so much energy moving through Cancer, including Venus, including Mercury as it moves back towards Cancer. Obviously the Sun, the new moon. We have so much energy highlighting our internal mothering energy, and we need to check in with that. And what that's doing is it's bringing up any parts of ourselves that are needing time, space, and attention. So this Page of Cups is going to alert you, and this can come in the form of an external experience, but this can also come in the form of just you having an aha moment within yourself, right? This is a chance for grace and healing, but you do have to slow down, my friends, and integrate it. Four of Swords is the nap card. That's what I call it anymore. It's when you have to take the rest to let the information integrate. You know, your nervous system can't make leaps once you've downloaded something new, once you've integrated something new. Your nervous system and your cells and your body just need a moment to recalibrate with you, with your soul, with your conversation, in order to integrate it in a way that is healthy and not in a way that feels like it's just going to short circuit your system. And so the Four of Swords is telling me that wherever you're seeking here, whatever answers are coming in, whatever illumination comes in via this lamp and this cup, needs some time to integrate before you take action. This is a month of double checking all your words, all your actions, taking the time to rest and reflect before you bring your thoughts and emotions to another person, before you run your mouth on people. This is a month when you're going to want to take a breath and wait until you've really understood it and integrated it before you move. But I will say this, you guys are probably going to say something bold. You're probably going to have to tell somebody something, you know, that you can't hold back. Because quite honestly, Eight of Wands and Knight of Swords is very much just saying bluntly and loudly whatever it is you think. Maybe somebody else is doing this to you. Maybe you can't keep a lid on it. And you just have to express yourself however this is showing up for you. There's this sense that clarity, a conversation of blunt opinions and ideas is coming through. Now, that could be a very productive thing, right? Especially if you take the time to integrate what you've realized in the first couple weeks of the month, and you take some time to integrate and understand what it is that you're understanding in your mind now. If you take that time, this Eight of Wands, Knight of Swords energy could be really productive. It could be very helpful for you in a relationship, in a conversation, in an experience. It may be something that really works for you. So, but this is also going to bring about whatever this conversation is, whatever this revelation is, whatever this quick moving energy, because this is very fast moving energy. This is the kind of thing where suddenly an opportunity comes in, where suddenly a conversation clarifies something, where suddenly something is moving forward. It is going direct. You are having this experience. Things are working, things are moving. This is a high speed train you are on if you are working with this energy. It is causing you to have a death of self. And that's where the Ten of Swords comes in, and that's where the High Priestess comes in, because what this does, so this is what's interesting about your month. You start off reflective, you start off putting some pieces together, clearing some space and realizing something, and then you get some forward motion, you get this big aha, this big moment of clarity, and it does this loop-de-loop thing once you start getting what you want, once you start feeling the momentum of this experience taking hold in your life, you're going to have a moment where you feel like you've almost been slingshot back to where you've been before, right? Or like you are feeling really good, you're feeling really, all right, we're having our answers, I'm saying what I'm feeling, I know what we're doing, I'm having these big breakthroughs, we're having the movement I've always been wanting, and then boom, Ten of Swords, High Priestess takes you back into the fog, back into the depths, maybe even some sadness, some grief, some sense of loss of self, a self that you've been in the past, a sense of being in the mystical, where things don't have a direct correlative answer. You know, high wisdom doesn't always translate to down here in like an exact way. Sometimes it always will just stay up there. There are certain, when you get to high level things, you just have to be able to plug into them and be up and out there and understand that you are the transmitter through which any of that wisdom is going to come through, right? And it can feel a little bit disconcerting at times to get thrown into this in-between, this unknown, this mystic fog world. But that's because whatever this big shift forward is for you, it's huge growth. And it is a death of self. There is a death of who you've been maybe a couple of years ago. And there's a meeting point where you sit with that self and you let it go. You can almost have a full-on conversation with this past self in this space. You could sit there, and actually that's probably a really good idea. If you're feeling a really strong resistance, fear or grief around a change happening in your life, this would be a great time. You could have a conversation with that past self. You could write it out. You can write out the conversation and ask that past self, what are you afraid of? You can ask your future self what they desire. There's plenty of ways you can have that conversation, but you are being asked to do that. And it may throw you off your footing a little bit to feel sadness or to feel heaviness or to feel confusion. But here's what I will say. If you're feeling those emotions, slow down and just listen to them. Hear them out for a couple of hours. And I think your understanding of what that information is will happen. You got to lock these pieces in. You've got to shed that layer of skin in order to fully step into your full dynamic power. And you will. You are the Emperor, right? And the Emperor knows the path forward. At least knows enough to lead. At least knows enough to be that divine masculine energy of plan. And carrying out that plan, executing that plan, understanding that plan, and being in charge of it. Being at the head, and the helm, and the mast of that journey. But this clarity, this Emperor clarity that I'm seeing for you all, which I do see, it's you stepping fully back into that power, does require you to go through this. It does require you to take a moment and be quiet in the mystic, quiet in the understanding of yourself, and knowing that it's okay that maybe certain versions of yourself are gone. Knowing that it's okay that maybe you aren't exactly who you thought you were going to be right in this moment. To be surprised. That is one of my biggest notes for July in general, is that this is a month where what is given to you, what is brought to you, will be brought to you in surprising ways. And that is what it's meant to do, because we are working very closely there, even though this is not Scorpio season, and Cancer is nowhere, it's a very specific own energy, the veil is very thin when we're working in any of the water signs, and this veil lifts a way for us to connect more deeply with self-parenting, self-love, and it takes us into very deep primal spaces. And so the way that information comes through is a little different than it normally would be. The way that solutions come through is a little different than it normally would be. So it's something to keep in mind in the way that conversations like this go down, in the way your internal conversations come through you, and in the way that pieces of yourself or aspects of self or ideas of self slough off and leave us. So if you are willing to be flexible, to flow in the stream of this energy, you're going to have an amazing month. But there are big revelations, there are big shifts going on, and it will not happen in the way that you, sitting right here watching this, if you're watching this right near the beginning of the month or even right before the month starts, you may have an idea of what you're going to be getting done in July. Some of that will probably happen, but emotionally, spiritually, it will feel, the quality of it will feel different than I think anything that you can pre-plan for. So don't worry about pre-planning for that aspect of it. Realize in life we have to make plans and get things done, but the way that you show up as the Emperor is very different than it has been in the past. Your Aries ways are still there and very strong, playful, blunt, excitable, intense. That's all there. But the way you apply it is changing. The way that it feels in your relationships is changing. The way that you wield that power is changing, and for the better, so that you can have a happier, fuller experience of this life. I'm sending you guys so much love. I'm really excited to see what Aries goes through, because the healing here is profound. This kind of healing can help heal relationships. It can help heal your health. It can help heal your relationship to your inner child. It can help you heal relationship to work and to value. Depending on what has been weighing you down or where you've been finding challenge, that's probably where this energy, including the Mercury retrograde and the eclipses, will be directing your focus, and where you will be noticing you're getting the biggest hits. So keep that in mind as well, because it's a very personal journey for each of you. If you're interested in working with me or emailing me, I'll leave all my information in the description box, so just click on that to find out. You can find me on Instagram at SarahVerba. You can also find me on my website, SARAHTAROT.com. I'm wearing PinkLune. She is making a ton of crowns right now, so I will leave her Etsy shop in the description box as well. I'm sending you guys so much love, and I will see you in August for more fun.